Hi there, it's Thursday, October 15th. It's around 11:15. I'm all bundled up today. The dogs are inside, so they might be popping into the video. This is what I'm playing with today. One of those elastic hair stretchies. Got one in, oh there it is, a black one in my hair. Oh, so this is what my hair's doing today. Okay. Whatever. Alright. So, I am making a video about my mental health issues. I wasn't gonna make this one right away. I was kind of going through and started with my heart condition, was gonna do fibromyalgia, but I got a message. I woke up this morning at 5:30 or so because Sienna was having one of her night crazy episodes, and she was getting the dogs all riled up. So they woke me up around 5:30, and I checked my phone to see what time it was, and I got a message from a cousin, and we were close growing up as kids, but not as adults. I haven't seen her in years, and the extent of you know our friendship now is basically on social media. Um, yes, I am cold today. It's uh, gotten quite cold. So but yeah, so I haven't seen her for a while, but her message, I guess what she took away from the last video I did, which was summer drama or something, I think I called it, was, and her message just, straight out said you have bipolar disorder, and I'm here for you, we're family. And I'm like, bipolar disorder? I'm like, that's not one of my diagnoses. I'm like, okay. But getting that at 5:30 in the morning, I'm like, where do you get off making that assessment based on a video of me? Yeah, I cry in the video, but um I'm under, quite a bit of emotional duress right now. So yeah, so anyways, I again have notes. I wrote down what I could remember some of my diagnoses are, and this is kind of subjective. It's because no two doctors ever give you the same diagnoses, so it's a little difficult trying to narrow it down. But so I'm just gonna read off the ones that I could, offhand remember that I had, and then I went through online to like Mayo Clinic, WebMD, I think a couple other places, and looked at their definitions, and then I wrote their definitions down. So that's basically what this video is going to be. So what I could think of offhand that I know I have are 8. One's PTSD. The next one would be major depressive disorder, panic disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, sleep paralysis, chronic sleep deprivation, OCD, and agoraphobia. So, so PTSD is indicated as a psychiatric disorder that may occur in people who have experienced or witnessed a traumatic event. So yeah, that's me. I've walked into that ongoing murder. Was I'm not gonna talk about any of the events really that caused it. Just to I want to keep this video just to one. I really don't like it when they split into two. But yeah, so there was that one, and then I went to go visit my grandma at a nursing home, and I watched one of her fellow residents choke to death and die due to staff negligence. And when they finally realized what was happening, they tried to get her out of there, and they rolled her past me, and she's tongue hanging out. It was just horrible. Anyways, so that's a couple for the PTSD. Major depressive disorder. So it's a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest, affects how you feel, think, behave, and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. You have trouble doing normal day-to-day activities and may feel life is not worth living. So panic disorder, that's where you have persistent panic attacks, and at one point I would have up to 8 panic attacks a day, and they are not fun. And I ask anybody who's had one, they're not fun. So a panic attack is a sudden episode of intense fear that triggers severe physical reactions when there is no real danger or apparent cause. Can be very frightening. When they occur, you might think you're losing control, having a heart attack, or dying. I definitely felt like I was having a heart attack. Before the panic disorder was diagnosed, I kept going to the emergency room because I thought I was having heart attacks, and I had just gone out on leave for my heart condition. So they do very much feel like having a heart attack, and one way I can describe them is you feel like you're just exploding into like 1,000 different directions, and it's like you want to run, but you want to stand still, and you don't know what to do when you're freaking out and you think you're dying. And yeah, they're not fun. And when you have them quite frequently, it's physically draining, and it's not fun. So generalized anxiety disorder. So severe ongoing anxiety that interferes with daily activities, persistent worry, overthinking, difficulty handling uncertainty, indecisiveness, inability to let things go, inability to relax, difficulty concentrating or feeling your mind goes blank, which, yeah, that happens all the time. Fatigue, trouble sleeping, muscle aches, trembling, nervousness, nausea, irritable bowel syndrome, irritability. So next one, sleep paralysis. It's the feeling of being conscious but unable to move. You cannot move or speak, and you may feel pressure or choking. A lot of people think that they're being attacked by demons when this happens, because you feel a presence in the room with you. Like literally, some people feel it because you have that feeling of choking. So a lot of people feel that the presence is on top of them. I've felt where the presence is like to the side, and it's your mind playing tricks on you. And from what I've read, researching it, it's your body not going through its normal cycles, sleep cycles, and so it's disturbed sleep. And it can lead to these episodes of sleep paralysis. So they're extremely terrifying. They're right up there with panic attacks, because you feel like there's somebody in there with you, and they're gonna kill you. And for someone like me who has actually kind of been through something like that, it's extremely unsettling. So next one is just chronic sleep deprivation, and that's just not having enough sleep, and that's from basically all these mental health things, which are just constantly draining and affecting my ability to sleep. So I never get enough sleep. They've tried to get me to go into sleep studies, but the thought of doing that is terrifying. And now that I have so many pets, it kind of seems impossible. So and then OCD, excessive thoughts that lead to repetitive behaviors, unreasonable thoughts and fears that lead to compulsive behavior. This is it's kind of come and gone over my life. When I was a kid, if I were to bump into something with my right hand, I would immediately have to touch something with my left hand. Like I felt out of balance. So a lot of these things go back to childhood. And in fact, mental health issues actually run in my family. So there's a predisposition for mental health issues in my family. So, but yeah, no, and then, I think a lot of kids go through don't step on cracks, and, I took it to a whole new level. And then one summer, I remember between 7th and 8th grade, um, I thought I was being watched constantly. Not by the government. I didn't know what was watching me. I wasn't like that. But any TV, any mirror, and any photograph that was on the wall or anything, I thought it was watching me. And so that summer, I spent the whole summer inside, rocking in the rocking chair, sucking my thumb. Uh, and I would literally, as long as there was nobody else home, I would take towels and sheets and blankets, and I would cover the TV, and I would cover the mirrors, and I would cover photographs. And um, sometimes we had a long hallway in the apartment, and I would just pace for hours, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Um, and that was as a kid, so some of this stuff goes way back. But yeah, so that's OCD, and then the last one, I think it's the last one I had, yeah, agoraphobia. It's the fear of places and situations that might cause panic, helplessness, or embarrassment. It often develops after one or more panic attacks. So yeah, agoraphobia. I prefer being at home. I don't like going into new situations. Um, yeah, yeah. And you know, just this weird stuff. Like, I have this irrational fear of mailboxes and my mail. Like, where I used to live. And you know, thankfully, the majority of my bills are set up for automatic payment. But yeah, no, I would wait so long to get my mail. Like, the mailboxes, there was like 4 of them um, on like a wooden thing, and so you know that's not important. But anyways, I would wait so long that I'd look outside and I'd see the little red flag up on the mailbox, and usually that's to signify to the postal carrier that you have something that you want them to pick up. But they would literally, my mailbox would get so full um, that they would put the flag up to indicate that if I did not go out there and get my mail, that they were going to be taking it back to the post office. Um, and I would literally just, you know, keep looking outside, looking at this, you know, flag on the mailbox. I'm like, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to go get my mail. And it was just, you know, all I had to do was cross the street. I could see the mailbox from the front window, but yeah, completely irrational fear. And then, you know, when I finally did it, it was like, ah. But then I would come in and I would sort out what was very obviously junk mail. So, um, newspapers, flyers, stuff that looked like junk. And I would throw that in the recycle bin, but then I would take anything in an envelope and I would put it in a basket on the wall. And one time, so it wasn't just the fear, just going to the mailbox, it was also opening my mail. So then I would just put it away. And at one point, it was 9 months that I went without opening my mail. And I know that because bank statements, you know, you get one every month, and there was 9 bank statements. And, you know, the pile becomes so big of mail that it just becomes so overwhelming that you just don't want to do it. So you just keep avoiding it. Um, so yeah, so I have no idea. I've you know tried to think, you know, did I crack my head on a mailbox? You know, why am I so weirded out about going to get my mail? And you know, I can't. It's just one of those things that I wish I knew why I did it, because then, oh, rainbow. Mm, okay. Anyways, one of those things that I wish I knew why I did it so that I could fix it. Because it is really annoying, because I kind of do it here too. Like, I have the P.O. box, and I'm trying not to breathe through my nose. Rainbow, I love you. Um, but even now, like, I'll go too long without going to my P.O. box, and It's nowhere near as bad as when I lived in Plano, but yeah, I even kind of do it here. And, if I could figure out why I do some of this stuff, it would be so amazing. Because then I could work on fixing it, but I think part of it is you don't know why. And, I've seen therapists, psychologists, trying to figure things out. And I do still see a psychiatrist. They do medicine management, and because I'm on so much medicine, between mental health stuff and my heart, plus underactive thyroid and migraines and just stuff that you need somebody to manage your medicine. And I had done that video about my heart where I had said that the nervous system, my brain, it doesn't send the right electrical impulses to control my body's heart rate and blood pressure. So one time when I went in to see the psychiatrist, I'm like, hey, it's been years. Some of this stuff goes back to childhood, but a lot of it, you know, goes back to that one whole attempted murder thing. But I'm like, is there some connection between the fact that my body can't regulate its most basic, life functions like heart rate and blood pressure? Is there some connection between that and the reason why I can't seem to snap myself out of these conditions? These are quite a few, and these are just the ones that I can think of offhand. PTSD, the major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety, panic disorder. That's a lot of stuff. And I'm like, is there some connection? Is this just, how it's always going to be? Like, my mind doesn't have the ability to heal itself, even with medication. The depression doesn't lift, the anxiety doesn't get better. Is there some connection that, because my body can't control blood pressure and heart, is there some connection that's not happening in my brain? And he's like, I like that you're starting to think like this. And it's like, oh, good. And I got distracted, and then I left, and I realized that he never answered the question. But my guess is he probably doesn't know. He's not a neurologist. But I think there is some connection between my body's inability to regulate certain symptoms and why I don't get better. I am really good at faking it, because I learned to fake it a long time ago. I think women in general are good at faking things. But I learned to fake being happy and smile, because my jobs were, I worked in human resources, and I worked in customer service face to face, either clothing retail or grocery retail. And you can't be a grumpy, frumpy person when you're face to face with people. You have to smile and say hi and talk to them, and you have to be happy. And even now, I get up every day, even though like I'm in physical pain and mental and emotional pain, and I get up and I walk Rainbow every day. We walk today, even though we froze. Oh yes, hello. Even though we froze our butts off. Well, I did. She was fine. Yes, hello. Yes. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Yeah. Are you Nibbles? Yeah, you're Nibbles. I don't know what I did. It's got a circle. Why is there... I don't know what I'm doing. I'm technically challenged, but, no, you can't have this. This is Mommy's. So I got good at faking. So, most people have no idea that, there's anything even wrong with me, because I have spent my life, learning to cover it up, and even learning to lie to myself. My doctor for years knew there was something wrong. I would go in for visits, and she'd be like, "Are you depressed?" I'm like, "No. What are you kidding? Can I make this circle go away? I can't make it go away. And I'd be like, no, what are you talking about? What do I have to be depressed about? And yeah, so I even was good at lying to myself. And, after the whole attempted murder thing happened, I worked for a very large company. It was like 5,000 people at one site, and we had on-site psychiatrists and nurses and, dry cleaning facilities, video rental. It was just a huge facility, but my boss sent me over to the psychiatrist. He got me in like right away, because after it happened, I took the day off, and then I think I went back the next day, and he had me go in and talk to the person, and then I took some more time off to get all my stuff settled where I was going to be moving. But the psychiatrist, I told her everything that happened, and she told me that I was going to suffer, like she asked how I felt about it, and I'm like, it's fine. I'm like, you see this stuff all the time when you watch Law and Order. I'm like, I'm gonna be fine. I'm like, it's no big deal. I'm like, it's fine. And she's like, and she just kind of looked at me, and she knew, but she's like, either you're the most well-adjusted person I have ever met, or you're gonna suffer from PTSD somewhere down the line. And I'm like, well, what does that entail? She's like, well, you're gonna gain weight, and you're gonna have panic attacks, you're gonna suffer from depression and anxiety and nightmares and all this stuff. And I'm just like, no. I'm like, none of that's gonna happen. I'm like, I'm fine, really. You see this stuff all the time on TV. But no, yeah, no, I wasn't fine. Because I was lying to myself because I didn't want to have to deal with it. And I used to be able to stuff my emotions, like just take them and stuff them into some place. I don't know where I put them, but I used to not deal with anything, and I had no negative reactions. But yeah, no, that ability stopped a while ago. I can't stuff and bury things anymore, and I really miss that ability because I didn't have to deal with stuff. I could just bury it. And some of it goes back to when I was a kid. I learned how to not cry by looking at a light bulb, and it also taught me how to put myself into the psychologist told me it was a form of self-hypnosis. Like, I literally am missing chunks of my childhood because I put myself into these things. Because when you're sitting there and somebody's telling you you were a cold-hearted, lazy ass bitch, that isn't gonna amount to anything. Yeah, you need to put yourself somewhere else. And that's how things always started. And I'd look into the light bulb and gone. Don't remember anything after that, but I know I was sat in that chair and berated for a little while. But yeah, no, I learned how to not make myself cry by looking at the light bulb, and I also learned how to put myself into like a hypnotic trance. So I'm missing like huge parts of my childhood that I don't remember. My sister's like, how do you not remember this? And I'm like, and sometimes she tries to use it to like get stuff by me, like stuff like she's like, you did this to me. I'm like, no, I actually remember that. Don't even try to pull that one on me. But yeah, so and then when I was really young, I used to rock, like I'd suck my thumb and I'd rock violently, like it in the car, like it would like bounce. And I watch a lot of educational TV, science, history, documentary. I don't like reality TV. It's completely pointless to me. I like stuff where I can learn stuff. And I came across and I'd probably never be able to find it now, but it actually addressed the rocking, and it's signs that at a very young age, that you went through either extreme neglect or extreme trauma. And I remember asking my mom, did something traumatic happen? I'm like, just tell me, did you drop me on my head? She's just like, what are you talking about? Um, but our family, it just there were no hugs, there was no holding, there was no, kisses or I love you. It just, that's how the family was. It was just very stern. And so, there probably wasn't, I know my mom didn't breastfeed. She already said that, and that's one way that babies and children bond. And there was that. I stinker, but no, you can't have that. Um, but like my earliest memories of my father, which were really young, before the age of 5, the first one was my brother was leaving to go to a baseball game, and I did not want him to leave, so I wrapped my arms around his ankles, and he dragged me down the cement driveway, and my arms and my knees had road rash, and my mom was bringing me inside, and I was screaming, I was crying. And my dad, he's like, shut that fucking kid up, I'm watching the game. And I just remember I went dead silent, and I didn't say anything, and I don't remember anything after that. And then and this is down in Virginia. We lived in Newport Beach, Virginia, I think. I don't know. She wants to play. It not yours. Yeah, no. And then the second, memory of my father from that time was he was laying on the couch watching TV, and I was crawling up so I could, be with him, and I accidentally, I'm a kid, I'm probably like 3 or 4 years old, and I don't know what a man's groin is, and I put my knee into his groin, and he made a funny noise. He's like, "Oh." And so I laughed, and he's like, "You think that's funny?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you going to do it again?" And as a kid, I'm probably like, "Yeah." Next thing I know, he hauls off and hits me, and um hard enough that I fall off the couch. And again, I don't remember anything after that. But yeah, so those are my two earliest memories of my father. So it's kind of a toss up. It could have been trauma, or it could have been neglect. Who knows? But there was a reason that, the rocking, and it lasted for years. And even the thumb sucking, it lasted into my early 20s. The only reason I stopped was because I started wearing my retainer all the time at night. So, you can't suck your thumb if you've got a big plastic retainer in your mouth. So, but yeah, so that's how I made it go away. But um, yeah, so I've had stuff going all the way back to I was a kid. I can remember in high school um, suffering from claustrophobia. We had our health class, and it was a room that was on the interior of the building, so there was no windows. Um, and it was just so stifling. And I can't even remember how many times I ran out of that room in the middle of class, because looking back now, I didn't know what it was, but it was probably an anxiety attack or a panic attack that was starting. Um, and I just didn't know what to do, so I ran out of the room, and I'd be having trouble breathing, and I always thought that I had asthma as a kid. And my dad was a chain smoker, so I was exposed to tons of secondhand smoke. Um, but yeah, so I thought I had asthma, but really, um, it was probably the anxiety already at that early age. So yeah, it runs in the family. I always thought, mostly it was postpartum depression. Um, there are some people in the family who have bipolar, and people who suffer from depression. I don't really know. It's none of my business unless they want to talk about it. But yeah, so those are some of the things I suffer with. And they don't go away, and I don't think they are ever gonna go away, because I think there is some connection, like there is with my heart condition, because it's part neurological, and my body's inability to regulate its own systems, I think, is working against me in the mental health aspect also, because it's just not allowing any progress. Even with, I've been through different therapists, I've been through years of therapy, and, it hasn't helped. Um, Medicine, it takes the edge off some of the stuff, but, it doesn't get better. And I think it's because it's not going to get better unless they can find some way to fix whatever it is neurologically that is wrong with my brain, that doesn't send the right signals to the heart and the blood pressure, but also figure out why it's not, um, it's interfering with, the mental health aspect too, because a lot of like the depression and stuff, it's like, synapses and stuff that aren't connecting right, and a lot of medications are to help with those processes in the brain. But I think because there's just something not right with the way my neurological functions, that was her squeaky toy. I just, the medications, they partially help, but like I said, they take the edge off, but they don't help enough to ever get me out of these conditions. Like they're gonna plague me for life, and but most people would never know it by looking at me, because I smile and I say hi, and because that's how I've basically trained myself. I hide my emotions. I don't show them. So, but yeah. So I remember a friend, her mom and I, we were watching over at her parents' house. This is someone I've known since junior high. We were watching the Bridges of Madison County, and this was before this was before I like started having panic attacks and all this stuff. This was back when I could still stuff emotions. And from a kid, like I said, I had trained myself not to cry. So I didn't cry at anything. Funerals, nothing. And anyways, we were sitting on the couch watching Bridges of Madison County with Clint Eastwood, and I can't remember her name, but I think she was in Dances with Wolves with Kevin Costner. And anyways, it's a romantic movie, and it's heartbreaking, and they're on, I'm sitting by her mom, she's on the couch, and my friend is in a chair, and they're sobbing their eyes out, and I'm just sitting there like, what the heck, what why are they so emotional about? This whole movie is made up. And we finish it, and they're just sobbing and emotionally drained, and I'm like, I have no idea what's wrong with you. I watched that movie after I no longer had the ability to stuff my emotions, and after something broke, and I could no longer, you know I could no longer do the no crying thing and stuffing my emotions like I used to. And I watched that movie. I was like, I am never watching it again. I was just sobbing. But like, even Titanic, I saw it in the theaters, and we had sat in the back, and so I was like the first person out and in the bathroom, because that was a long movie. And so I came out, and there was just all these women just sobbing, and I'm like completely bone dry, and I'm like, oh my gosh, women are so emotional. Yeah, I miss the days when I could stuff my emotions. So, but I know now it wasn't healthy. You can't. Eventually, everything comes back to bite you in the butt. So it's possible that I wonder if I wonder if I broke myself sometimes from stuffing decades of trauma and emotions and not dealing with things. Like I wonder if I caused my own heart condition. And I know I couldn't have. It's a heart condition. I've probably had it for a very long time and I just didn't know it. But stress and all those things, they have a major effect on you. Um, so you can't leave those things unchecked. So if you have mental health issues, and there is such a stigma regarding mental health issues, but you really need to do what's best for yourself, and what's best for yourself is to get the help you need, and whether that is uh, wherever you fall on um, the scale of what you consider acceptable, whether it's just talk therapy or medications. You need to do what works best for you. Um, but you also you need to challenge your doctors. I've had some doctors that I've challenged that they've gotten really pissed and I've lost them as doctors. But you need to do what's best for yourself. And if you don't agree with something that they're doing, or some medication that they want you to take, you need to stand up for yourself and be your own advocate, because nobody else is going to do it for you unless you hire a lawyer. But yeah, no, there's huge stigma regarding it, but I think we're moving, forward in society where hopefully there won't be that stigma anymore. But you know, you are your own advocate, so you have to stand up for yourself. And I'm literally rambling, and I've been doing it for 37 minutes, and I don't even know what I've talked about. All I know is that there's this crazy circle, like, right there. I have no idea what it means, but I really hope it means that I don't have to re-record this, because I don't want to. So anyways, those are my mental health things. I don't have bipolar disorder, but if I did, it wouldn't be a big deal. It would just be something else I would be living with. But yeah, it kind of took me by surprise when I woke up at 5:30 a.m. and on my phone I have a message telling me that I'm bipolar. And I'm like, how do you get that from watching a video where I cry because I'm extremely traumatized by something, a bunch of somethings that are going on in my life? But yeah. So anyways, that's it. Gonna end this. Have a good day. Bye.